JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. So wanted to give you a little bit of stimulus update news on kind of where we're at the week of August 31st, which means we're going into September. So a little bit of good news. I'm hopeful. I kind of always have been. Still might be looking at next week, but here's what I think is going behind the scenes that will speed things up right after Labor Day. So hey, before we get into it, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click it. A lot of good value that I'm putting out. So we are within about $500 billion to reaching a deal between the Republicans and the senators. Of course, we do still have some differences between the House and the Senate, but nonetheless, Forbes is reporting, and I feel like they are the most neutral business magazine, business publication, that they are within about $500 billion. With that, it does definitely look like there is going to be unemployment extension at the federal level. And what I can tell you right now is it'll be between 200 and 400, which means it'll probably land at 300 in terms of a weekly benefit. In terms of who qualifies, I would assume it would be the same as who qualified before. I don't know that there will be any retroactive unemployment. However, it seems logical that there should be, given those that needed it would need and appreciate to get it back to, in essence, August 1st, missing a whole month of unemployment. Stimulus checks. That is an obvious. It has been from the beginning. I don't know why they didn't just agree on that and get those spit out, so to speak. But the $1,200 per adult with the $500 for the kids is always been on the table, as in a done deal, just needs to be put into law. So we should be able to safely expect that. And then as it relates to PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, I do feel like there is going to be definitely a version of Paycheck Protection Program. Where we're seeing some varying differences is, first, what I've been talking about all along, which is a qualifier in terms of showing that you have been financially affected by COVID. I'm hoping that they take into consideration that there are those businesses that maybe their numbers were not down during the closure because they were collecting on jobs, services, products being sold before the shutdown. But we know now there's going to be a comparison from quarter to quarter. They might throw in there, which I hope, a kind of a weird quarter. What do I mean by that? So we know traditionally we have January through March, April through April through June, July through September, October through November, right? Those are our traditional calendar quarters. What I'm hoping is, and many states have done this, including my home state, what they might really look at is, what were the revenues in April, May, and June? I have seen that really nowhere, but that seems logical that would be where they would want to do a comparison, given that we're looking at September when there's being a deal. I think it'll definitely be based on payroll. It very well could be based on payroll in the beginning of this year or during the pandemic, in terms of right before, right after, and what is it after. I just think there's going to be some differences on how it's calculated, and not only just the amount that you get, but then also the qualifiers. But we also have those, more specifically in the Senate, that are wanting the PPP to be able to be used for more than payroll or more than rent, more than utilities. I don't see anywhere that self-employed will be excluded. I will say this, unfortunately, that there might be an exclusion to self-employed from the standpoint of the qualifiers that they're going to put on, or maybe the abilities to be able to spend those dollars, but yielding a forgiveness amount. What I'm really, really, really hoping that I've not seen on the table, but it could be one that's just put in at the end, is this. We know that when you receive PPP and whatever you spend it on that's then forgiven, so it would be on the qualified expenses, of course, you don't get to then tax deduct the items that or expenses that you paid for with PPP money. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is, because in essence, if you received $100,000 and you spent $100,000 on salaries, yes, it is a zero-sum game. But if your business and your tax planning has been counting on the $100,000 in salaries, well, you have now a big hole, a big gap. It is hoping that it will be closed. Maybe it'll come in the stimulus. I'm not seeing it anywhere as a part of the negotiations, but within $500 billion, which means that the Democrats in the House, the HEROES Act was over $3 trillion. The HEALS Act, which never passed the Senate but was probably the most prominent bill put forward, was around $1.2 trillion. We are down to the Senate being up maybe to about 1.5 or so trillion, and then the House has come down to 2.2, so it seems logical that we're within 500 billion. It does seem clear to everybody, meaning in Congress, the House and the Senate, that if they don't get a deal done, it is going to hurt their campaign. It's going to hurt their chances of retaining their seat, retaining majority. So I do see more about the scrambling going on here. So, all right, well, hey, let me tell you something real quick. I've got my second book out, Cracking the CPA Code. I'd like to give you $1,000. All you have to do is go to Amazon.com, search JJ the CPA, buy it, email me the receipt at jj@jjthecpa.com, and you are in the drawing, which will be during my live show Friday, September 11th. We'll draw between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We draw your name, $1,000 cash to you. All right, hey, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. Go to my website, jjthecpa.com, if you'd like to schedule a consultation with me by phone. But get on this, $19.97 gives you a chance to be in the hat for $1,000. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in, and then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Look at all this. You need to tune into my lives, Mondays and Fridays, 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Been doing it forever, answering Q&A, giving away a bunch of stuff as we go into so much going on related to my new book. All right, hey, have a great day.
JJ is the master locksmith, cracking the CPA code. Competition ain't never sweating in. Cracking the CPA code. Now you ain't got no competitors. Get a JJ the CPA if you wanna boss up and get paid. All you gotta do is unlock one relationship with one CPA. The combination to money making, we got this. JJ the CPA is the master locksmith. That's how we get it. If you did it, then now you'll know. We gon' crack the CPA code.
Crack the CPA code.
The